What's up, guys? I just wanted to give my predictions for the East versus West event, which is this Saturday, July 28th at I think it starts at noon. And quickly go through the matches. I do have my cheat sheet here. So first match, and these are in the order they take place, is Mindaugas Terracaitis versus Risto. So Risto actually beat Mindaugas last time they pulled, which was at the 2022 WAF World Championship at 75 kilograms. But Mindaugas had a war with, or a long match with Daniel Prokopchuk first, and then I think he had another long match, and then he pulled Mindaugas. So Mindy was tired when he lost to Risto. I don't know what the overall history is between these two guys. They both seem very confident that they will beat each other. So I think almost for sure Mindy will get position on Risto, and Risto possibly will stop him in his King's move. And it could be a war. I will favor Mindaugas because I think his table smarts are too good, and he'll figure out a way to win. But it could be a war, and it could come down to endurance. But I think Risto will be like opened up, extended, just holding on above the pad. And he can hold there for a long time, but I think eventually Mindaugas will be able to pin him. Elizabeth Molick, sorry if I say your names wrong too, versus Carolina Pedersen. Carolina is a very good arm wrestler. Usually competes at 60 kilograms, 132 pounds. This match is at 70 kilograms, 154 pounds, and Elizabeth is I don't know what she walks around at, but she looks significantly heavier than Carolina. Elizabeth is a newer arm wrestler, about 2 years in. I saw her pull at the East versus West finals in Virginia, and it's hard to say for sure because she hasn't pulled anyone like on an international level, but with how strong she looked, I think she just has too much power and she's going to win this match. I'd say 3-0 Elizabeth. If Carolina wins, maybe 3-2 because she can pull forever. She's had some of the longest matches in history. And so if it turns into a war, I see her winning 3-2, but I'd go Elizabeth 3-0 most likely, just too strong. Justin Bishop versus Tom Rositz. Tom's is super strong. I didn't actually watch the European Championships, but I know he didn't do as good right-handed. But Tom says his weakness is a hook, and Justin almost always top rolls. And I've seen Tom, I think I've seen him beat or be close with Raymond Antonovics from Latvia. I think he's just too strong for Justin Bishop. His level seems higher. But with that being said, Justin, I've seen on Facebook and pictures, he looks significantly bigger than he's ever looked. Like he's definitely put on weight and size. How that translates to the table, we'll see. I'm sure he's going to be really strong. Hopefully it can be a war, but I just think that Tom's is on a different level than Justin. He's a level above him. I think he's the heavy favorite, to be honest. Andre Shurprinov versus Lachlan Adair. I go Lachlan just because I can't remember who it was, but I heard that Lachlan recently beat someone that Andre recently lost to. Of course, just because you beat one guy and that guy beats another guy, it doesn't mean that the first guy can beat the third guy. It's styles. Andre is super quick, but I think if the match stops, Lachlan's stronger for sure. And I'll go with 3-1 Lachlan. Rhino Message versus Terrence Opperman. Terrence was really strong around 2009 to 2012 probably. I haven't seen much of him in the last decade. I would say that Reno has to be the favorite just because he's on a tear. He's only 18, I think, years old, maybe 19, maybe 17. I don't know for sure. He's somewhere around 18 years old, give or take a year. But his trajectory is just keeps going up. And I don't know exactly where Terrence is right now, but I would say he would have to be at his all-time best ever to be close to Rhino. And if he's at his all-time best, I think it'd be a war. But Rhino, I've seen him pull. He can pull in many different positions, top roll, press, hook. And I think he's got good stamina too. I would give the slight edge to Rhino. Oleg Petrenko versus Chance Shaw. This one is hard to say. I think that Oleg is probably better than Chance, but might lose to Chance. I think he can beat guys that Chance would lose to, but I think style-wise, the way to beat Oleg is top roll, and Chance has a really good top roll, and Oleg he likes to hook, but Chance is really hard to turn in the hook. The way to beat Chance is to top roll Chance, because it's easier to top roll him than it is to turn him in the hook. If you can turn him in the hook, you can beat him, but he's really, really, really hard to turn into a hook. Maybe Oleg will try to top roll. It's hard to say because we've only seen Oleg pull John Brzenk in the last 3-4 years on the right hand. So I think it'll be close, but I'd have to go Oleg probably. Still, even though Styles I think favors Chance, I think Oleg is just stronger. Daniel Prokopchuk versus Emil. These guys have a back and forth history. In the pre-match interview on Engen's channel, Emil seemed not super confident. Daniel himself actually said the match was 50-50, but it seemed like he was being humble. Until I see otherwise, even though Emil has beat him before, it's been 50-50 in the past. They haven't pulled for about 4 years. But until I see otherwise, I will not bet against Daniel left-handed at his weight. He literally toys with everyone. Granted, he hasn't pulled Emil or Alan Zoloev, who are probably the top contenders for the left-hand at 75 kilo title. And, well, he's never pulled Alan, and he hasn't pulled Emil in like 4 years. But I think pound for pound, Daniel is the best left in the world. He toys with everyone he pulls at EAF, WAF, everywhere. And I won't be surprised if he beats Emil easy, to be honest. But I also won't be surprised if it's a war. I think it's going to be somewhat comfortable. Maybe not a slam, but a very convincing win for Daniel, if I had to guess. Sandras Shedis versus Pablo. This is probably one of the 3 matches I'm looking forward to the most, probably because Pablo is somewhat of a hometown hero. He lives about 6-7 hours away from me. And he's super strong. He says he's about 5% stronger than he was when he pulled Sabin. He's about 260, 265. He's gonna make 253, 115 kilos, but he said he wants to be back up to around 120 by the time of the match. And he said he's worked on his endurance too, since that was the issue with Sabin. On paper, I'd say Sandras is the favorite because he's the WAF champion at 110 kilos. Last 2 years he won the European Championships at that weight, and I will continue this prediction later. So I think Sandras has a lot more endurance than Pablo, and I think he could take Pablo's wrist, because Sandras is really smart and he's really well-rounded, and he's really a complete package. If there was one area I think Pablo for sure has him in, it's just raw horsepower. Pablo is probably one of the strongest guys in his weight class, just like for overall just raw strength and horsepower. But I think if it's a long match, even more than maybe 5 seconds in the first round, or by the second round it might be 10 or 15 seconds, and then I think Sandras has a good chance of outlasting him. I also think he might be able to do something with his hand. I think straight hook, if it goes inside, if Pablo can get him in a hook, I think Pablo wins. Or if he can keep his wrist in any position, really, like all the way in. Like if it's flat, that's not keeping it. It has to be turned in. Then I think he beats Sandras. And the weight limit for this match too is 115 kilos. And Sandras, I don't know what he's gonna come in at. I know he's been up to like 260 maybe, so like 117, 118. But like lately, I've seen he's made a couple 105 weight classes. And it could just be like he's trying to downplay where he's at, but in some interviews it sounded like he wasn't training his hardest. He said he was kind of taking a little bit of a break. I don't know if that's true or not, but bottom line, I think this will be a really close match, especially if Sandras wins, because he's going to have to bleed him out in the war. Unless he surprises me and just takes his hand, and then he wins convincingly, but I really actually want to pick Pablo, but I'm going to pick Sandras just because I want Pablo to win really bad, and I don't want to jinx it. I think it's going to be really close, though. But I will say if it goes in the hook, Pablo wins. Even if it's, yeah, I think he's just too strong. But I think Sandries can find a way to win because he's really technical and smart. So I'll go very slight edge to Sandries, maybe 55-45. Ferret, Wagner. So Wagner, I don't know what the history between these guys is. I'm sure they pulled before, but if they have, it's probably been 10 years, at least, I would say. It's hard to say because they haven't pulled any like opponents. Wagner's pulled Zeranov, he's pulled Hermes. And the Ferret, back when I started arm wrestling in 2008, he was ranked consistently top 5 in the world left-handed from around 2008 probably until, for sure, maybe not consistently, but off and on, he was for sure ranked, if not consistently ranked, in the top 5 left from probably 08 to like 2014-15. His hook's really strong. His left actually historically has been his money arm, or maybe equal to his right. Anyways, Wagner's super strong. It could be a war. I think Ferris just got too much hook for him, though. He'll know what to do against Wagner. Wagner's really a one-trick pony. All he does is press. Ferret was really close with Corey West, and even though Corey West got absolutely destroyed by Morozov, I still rate Corey West really high. I think he's top 6 in the world, probably. And I don't think Wagner's that high up. And the way Ferret hooks, too. I think if he tries to roll, he might actually get turned into hook and then be out of position. But if he just goes straight hook, I think he can keep his knuckles sideways. And then with the press, like if Wagner tries to press and Ferret's knuckles are sideways, Wagner will be turned up and out of position. And from there, I don't think he can beat Ferret. I'd say Ferret. It seems like in the polls it's pretty 50-50. A lot of people are saying Wagner, but I just don't think people know how strong Ferret's left is. I think he's. I don't know if it's going to be easy, but I think he's a pretty heavy favorite in my mind. I'll go 75-25 to Ferret. I wouldn't be completely shocked if Wagner beats him, but I think it'd be a really impressive win for him. And then we have Artem Morozov versus Georgy Svetkov. The replacement for, it was supposed to be Morozov versus, I'm having a brain fart here. He was supposed to pull Gennady. And that match was the one I was most excited for. Because it really would show us how Morozov stacks up with Jerry and Devin, since Gennady and Jerry and Devin are all like, whichever one's better, it could be argued, but they're all like really, really close. So, but anyways, hopefully that match can happen in the future and Gennady heals up. With Svetkov, my initial thought was, well, of course, Morozov's going to beat him pretty easily. But then I thought about it more, and I'm like, actually, Svetkov has a decent chance, because I actually think he'll be harder for Morozov than Gennady would have been, because Gennady's more like power, just a power puller. Like he probably would have went power to power with Morozov, versus Svetkov is going to go for Morozov's hand. He's got more top roll than Gennady. And if he can take Gennady's hand, or Morozov's hand, if Svetkov can take Morozov's hand at all, which I wouldn't say is impossible, then I think the match is over. I think if Morozov can't keep his wrist, he's not going to win the match. Morozov, I don't know if it will affect his strength or not, but he's also has a stomach issue and lost 10 kilograms. I'm not sure if that 10 kilograms was like in the last week or maybe the last couple of weeks. But that's 22 pounds. That's a lot of weight. And I've seen pictures, and Morozov, his biceps still look huge, bigger than ever, but he looks lean too. And sometimes just being so lean, you're not as strong. Also, just being sick and not being able to consume as many calories as you need. His endurance could be down. Pretty much, I think if Morozov turns Georgie in a hook, I think he wins easily. Or pretty easily anyway. But I think there's a chance that Georgie could do something with his hand. And if he can compromise his hand, I think it could be a war, and Georgie might be able to win. I think it'd be really close if Georgie can do something with his hand. If he totally takes his hand like this, I think he's going to win for sure. But if like it's close, and he's like almost kind of taking Morozov's hand, but Morozov's still flat, maybe keep getting... I could see it being close. I'd say 65% Morozov. And in my opinion, before this match, I would put Morozov third in the world right-handed, still putting Levon number 1, even though he has a wrist injury. And if he totally just smashes Georgie like nothing, then I'll be like, yeah, he for sure is number 3. But if it's close, then I'll start to question it. But the thing with Georgie is we only saw him pull Jerry. I want to see Georgie pull more matches to see where he is at, because he only pulled Jerry. And yeah, he gave Jerry war. But I've seen people that are significant, like, if Jerry's around top 5 in the world, I've seen people like in the 15 to 20 range who can give Jerry a war too, just because Jerry has a weird style. But they can't beat Jerry. But I do want to see Georgie pull more guys to see where he stacks up, because I think he's in the top 10, maybe around 9th or 10th, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. And but I want to see him pull more guys to see where he stacks up. So I'm really excited to see this. So I'm really excited to see this match for that reason, because I want to see Georgie pull more guys to see where he stacks up. If I had to guess, I'd say Morozov wins, but I don't think it's going to be easy. If he just smashes him, though, then he's definitely top 3 and he needs to pull Hermes soon. And then the last match being, obviously, Jerry Caderet versus Hermes Gasparini. I'm actually surprised a lot of the athletes, like the guys on the card that have made predictions, are picking Jerry. It seems like at least 50-50. You can never be shocked when Jerry wins, but I'd be pretty surprised if he wins. I favor Hermes fairly heavily. I do agree that styles favor Jerry, because Jerry wants you to top roll him. The way to beat Jerry, I still think is well, I'm not going to get into too many details on how to beat him, or go into too much depth, but I think it's more of an inside move than an outside move. Maybe not a straight hook, but the thing with Hermes is he has a press too. And if Jerry gets Hermes here, I wouldn't be shocked, actually. I would not be shocked if Hermes is still able to hold him and bring him back, because Hermes' arm is so strong. And but if it becomes wars, even though I think Hermes actually has pretty good endurance, one of the best endurances in the super heavyweight division, I still think Jerry's got more endurance than probably anybody. Arguably for sure, if not for sure. And so if it ends up being wars, I think Jerry wins. And if he gets Hermes here, maybe he will. I think if Hermes gets here, I think Jerry probably wins, if Jerry gets positioned. But I think that Hermes is going to hit and get Jerry close to the pad. And then from that position, Jerry being here, Hermes can come up and press him straight down to the pad, because Hermes' press is really, really strong. I definitely don't think he wants to fool around and or either let Jerry get on his side, or if Jerry gets on his side with Hermes not letting him get there, I think then Jerry has a good chance from that position. But I think I'd be pretty shocked if Hermes just straight flashed him, but I think he'll get position and come up and press him. If you can't press him for the win, then it's going to be brutal. Then it's going to be a really hard match. But overall, I go 80% for Hermes. And honestly, I don't care what country you're from. I don't go for the Americans a lot of the times, actually. Sometimes, it all depends. But I hope Hermes beats him. I'm a huge Hermes fan. But not being biased, I think just with his press, I think he's going to be too much. And then hopefully he gets a crack at Devin. If not next month, then maybe like this winter. And then beats Devin, probably, maybe. I hope he beats Devin. I don't know if he will, but I hope he will. And then I hope he gets to pull Levon next spring. So just going over my picks again, quickly. I got Mendagas over Risto, 65-35. I think it's going to be a war, though. Elizabeth Moak over Carolina Patterson. I think it'll be easy. If it's not easy, then I got Carolina. I think the way for Elizabeth to win is for it to be quick. Tom Razitz over Bishop. I'm fairly sure on that. Hopefully it can be a war, though. Bishop's coming in strong. Big. Lachlan over Shapranov. I think flash pins. If it stops, Lachlan wins, and he probably ends up coming out 3-1. Rhino Masic over Terrence Opperman. I think it'll be a war, but 3-0, 3-1 maybe. Oleg Petrenko over Chance Shaw, maybe 3-1. Not easy. I think Daniel beats Emil left-handed 3-0. I think maybe Emil will give him a war, but I think it won't be too hard for Daniel. But I could be totally wrong on that. I know Emil is super strong. Top 5 easily in the world left-handed, assuming he's at his best. Pablo and Sandras, one of the best matches on the card. I think that it's going to be close. I hope Pablo wins, but I'll go 55-45 for Sandras. 3-2. Ferret over Wagner. I think it won't be a war. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but I don't think it'll be a war. But it might be a war. I'll say 35% chance it's a war. And then 65% chance that it's over and the match is over in less than 5 seconds. Like from go to pin. Not setups included, obviously. Morozov over Savetkov, I'll go 65-35. And I'll say 20% chance Morozov beats him easily. And then, I don't know the percentages, but the other percentages are that Morozov wins without it being easy, though. I guess it'd be 35% that Savetkov wins, 20% that Morozov wins easily, and 45% he wins, but not easily. And then I'll go Hermes over Jerry, 3-0. So, pretty convincingly, in my opinion. That's it. So, yeah, tune in to East versus West Core Sports if you want to watch it on Saturday. The 29th, not the 28th. I had the date wrong.